Hello everybody, welcome to In the Attic Dev. Today we're going to be taking a look into the very beginnings of this narrative 2D RPG kind of game, whatever type of game, pixel, puzzle, adventure. Let's just start putting all the words in front of it. So this game, as we can see here, I'll just actually press play and we can see, oh, there it is. We can press play and we can actually see what's going on here. So, the very first thing I wanted to do was get a look kind of similar to the Zelda 2, like how you have an overworld, like the top-down 2D overworld, where you can actually walk around kind of longer spaces and longer distances on a bigger map. So it feels like you're traversing more distance and can cover more areas. Like this. It's like you're walking through an actual forest, and it's like there's distance because you can see down there is like this is a little house. That's the dock compared to the size of a tree here. So the player isn't the player isn't a giant. This is supposed, it's supposed to represent like just their overworld view because there's no combat. There's no combat in this game, but you can go around and click things and go get items and stuff, solve puzzles out here, open new areas, stuff like this that then leads you into these 2D side-scrolling scenes. So that's pretty much where the Zelda 2 inspiration ends. At that point, just that kind of switch and that little thing, but yeah, because then you get into the town. And this is like a town, and this is the very basics, like very start of it right here. So the goal, as you'll be able to see when I walk back up, this is just a whole, see, there's like more space here I can put stuff in, and it goes on for a little bit. But yeah, it's just a small town to start. Small town to start. That's pretty much what it is. But now, if you go up to this guy, he has a whole thing attached to him. So a lot of this is possible because of a very amazing plugin, Dialogue Manager 3, and it's free on Godot in the Godot Asset Library. I could not have done like any of this right here where you click on the guy and this comes up, or any of the cool stuff I'm about to show you with this guy without that plugin. That plugin is like essential to this whole project, so very massive, humongous thanks. I'm going to put his name up. I'm going to put the channel up here because I don't want to get it wrong. Humongous thanks. Massive thanks to this. He is the GOAT. The GOAT. Okay, so here we can walk up to this guy. This is like the town guard. So I want it so in the game it's like you're kind of new to the area. So this is like maybe one of your first times stopping in. This will be like the first time this guy sees you. So, Halt, I haven't seen you around here before. So, I guess I could restart. Let's do this. Okay, so presented here of two options already. This is perfectly going to show our game state and game state consequence managements. So we're presented here with this guy, and we can just say, me, I'm just a traveler. That's kind of the more like passive, cool option. Like, okay, let's not do this. And mind your own business, that can open up a little conflict. So if you choose that one, it goes, I got my eye on you. Okay, so he leaves you alone. You can go on with your life. You're fine. But if you choose to come back to him, you again, what do you want? So the response is a little more short, like just passing through, or do you have any work? So if you do this, I think, oh, does that just straight up end? It ends. I thought I thought I added something else. But it's okay, if you do this, do you have any work? Like I'd trust you if anything important. Now move along. So if we go in here into the quest journal, obviously we didn't accept the quest, so there's nothing in here. So, and this guy will not give us that quest. So, unless we do something to somehow get our level up with the guards, which currently isn't in the game, this quest would be locked out until you actually, so there's going to be other quests, like I have a whole another idea for guard quests and stuff like that. So if you would actually go up and help another guard, your guard meter in the background in the game state. Okay, so if we go into the game state here, these are the story flags. So I'm gonna have to somehow like merge this with the quest manager thing I got going on. Anyway, so these are like the story flags for a lot of the interactive objects and the quests I have going on right now. But you can see here like the relationship meter with the guard. So it's 0 base, because you've never met him before. So then if we go into Dialog Manager, so you can see now here that we're in the guard Dialog Manager file. So all these are in .dialog files. And you can see down here, if game state relationship meter guard is less than or equal to 0, blah, 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 blah. Because right here, you know, hey, I missed a traveler, sets at the +1. So you set the meter, and then he'll actually give you the quest. But if you decline them, that's when you're at a -5. So in the future, when we can have another guard file, when we do another guard quest, we can kind of have the same kind of thing going. But because it's later in the game, we can have it instead of if less than or equal to 0, we can have it maybe less than or equal to 15. So if you've pissed off the guards before, maybe you'll still be able to get that one quest from that guard and start increasing your levels up. So that's the type of stuff I'm talking about when I'm like, it seems pretty complicated and pretty advanced, like on the surface, but once you actually start getting into it and seeing how the architecture is set up, like, and it's not even that like great of coding on my end. It's like I'm really relying on Dialog Manager and the game state singleton here. So now that I kind of explained all that and the inner workings of all that, let's actually go into accepting the quest from the guy. So you can sprint, so you just get easily over there, talk to him, be like, me, I'm just a traveler. Traveler, eh? Keep your nose clean. Actually, I have a problem. Goblins have stolen my family shield. Could you get it back for me? So if you do I'm too busy, I think if you do I'm too busy, you can go back and get the quest from him. Pretty sure I programmed it. So you do, I'll do it. And then thank you, they've made camp to the east. Be careful. And then this brings up the quest log. You now see active quests, a shield lost, blah, 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 blah. It's actually all in there. So then if you go talk to him again, well, get to it. So yeah, that's pretty much the basics of like accepting a quest and talking to the people and how like the very basics I got of the game state manager going. We can actually show another little example of that. Oh, see? That's a little bug. That's not like I would say a little bug. It's just something that happens. Like, I gotta fix it. So if we run back up here, up to this scene, the farmhouse. So you approach the old farmhouse, a single ripe apple sits on the windowsill, seemingly left for a traveler. Take the apple? Yeah, I'll take the apple. So now in our inventory, we do have an apple. Pretty awesome. Then if we go here, the house is quiet. Looking through the window, you see a bowl on the kitchen table with 3 more apples. So it's recognized the fact that you've gone through that dialogue and you have tamed the apple and you've gone through that tree. Now it's going through this one where it's like you actually have a more moral choice here. You could probably reach through and grab them. Oh, but now we're going to walk away because that would be stealing. So yeah, and then if you come back here, you could have it like another thing where that was like your only opportunity to take them. But then I also have a thing here set where if you take them, quickly swipe the apples. A smart part of you feels a bit worn down by the act. Go down here, you have more apples. But I don't know if it says it. Let's see if it actually changed it in the game state. Didn't change it yet, but world weariness. So that's a var here. We can actually set different vars. Like, so how we were doing the like relationship meter like that. And I need to set it up in an array like that. Oh shit. But basically, so like the world weariness went down by I think 5 points once we stole the apples. So I could have it set up that once, we go back to the dialogue here, up here, you can have another if-else statement being like, well, if the game state says, the world weariness is high enough, maybe the guard just like is just a total dick to you, and he's like, hey, you shouldn't be walking around this town. There's people stealing apples all around here. And then the player would actually be like, oh, crap, I stole those apples, and now this guy's saying that. So that's the type of stuff I really want to make the game feel personal. So, and then look, so I can actually do a whole overview of the map. I'm calling this area Turtle Lake. Okay, we can end this with a lore dump. We can end the first devlog with a lore dump here. So this is Turtle Lake. I don't have a really name for the whole like continent country. This is supposed to be a guitar. And so you can see the turtle. I'm not entirely sure why the world formed to make this shape a turtle. I just think it's either just a form of nature that made it look like a turtle, or maybe there is something long forgotten myth that may or may not show up in the game. I don't know. That's how you make lore, by the way. That's how you make lore. Just start saying crap. Okay, and then over here, you can see this church over here. These are going to be like the Inquisitor bad guys. Well, actually, I may not call them bad guys. They have a different point of view depending on how you play the game. Because if the whole game is kind of centered around, magic's coming back to the world, a lot of stuff happened in this area over here called the Crystal Caverns in a text game I made, text adventure game I made. And so magic is now back in the land, returned to the land. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? A lot of people may not be so happy about that. And so Turtle Lake is like a divine area of sorts because no one knows how it formed. No one knows if it was actually, how it formed into a turtle. So there's, like, it's basically like people aren't really allowed there's like no laws out here pretty much. So a lot of people don't go out here except these guys because they took over this area. And that's why the Inquisitors, I don't know, there's some lore. I gotta do the lore. Okay, so that's pretty much just it for the very basic, like very starter. You can kind of see what we're doing in terms of like setting up the world, setting up just the interactivity of it all. So next episode, I'll actually show you us going to do the quest because there is more involved in that, and then I can start talking about a little more about the game. If anyone has any questions about specifically how I program stuff, I will answer. The answer usually is not very well, but it works. But it works because right now you can go up to this goblin cave and is like, this looks like the cave the guard mentioned. See, then some of you may have a question like, well, what if you click this and you hadn't met the guard? Well, that's what we find out next episode. Uh-huh. Well, thank you very much all for watching. I hope you got some enjoyment out of this. If it made you think about something you could do in your game, that would be pretty awesome. That's like my ultimate hope. One of my ultimate hopes is all this, just to share progress, get inspired by people, see what's going on. So thanks again everyone for watching, and hope you have a good rest of your day.